Hello everybody and Carlos here to a brand new episode. I'm babifly and today I'm playing Heretic Operative by C-Prompt Games. It's actually a dark fantasy board game where we get to play as a cult and specific as one of the cultists, of the main cultists, and we try to spread the tendrils of that cult throughout the known world, and namely a specific kingdom whose name I just forgot. So basically we're gonna find out in the game. So let's start a new game. It's a rather easy game. I'm gonna explain everything as we play through. So let's click on the new game, and here we have three different prompts, three different choices that we need to make before we set up the before we start a new game. So basically this is setting up the new game, and first of all we need to choose a story deck. Needless to say that depending on the level that you have, you can choose various different options when it comes to story decks, operatives and cults, because everything is tied to a specific level. So this increases replayability tremendously, and it's a thing that I personally like, especially in board game video games. So in video games that actually look and behave as board games, it's quite important to have replayability, and the game does that successfully and in spades. So but when we choose a story deck, we need to keep in mind that what we want to fight against and what we want to play with. So in our in this story, we can choose between a random story, the initiation, which is the tutorial basically, the gates, or the nest of abominations. And that because I'm only level 4, I'm not 6, 9 or 11, so I can't choose these three. So I'm gonna play with the gates now, since I've played these and I really know how to play around it. So it says that mysterious gates are appearing, weakening the walls, protecting our realm from those beyond. I've already played against the Blood Cult, so that's why it lists the Blood Cult as a defeated one, and I've already used the operative Sirata of the Silent Library, so I'm gonna use someone different and a different cult, obviously. The thing with that game is that if you are proficient, if you have played actually Pandemic or another board game like Arkham Horror, you will find many similarities between these games and this one. This is not a bad thing, because basically these games that I mentioned just moments ago are the ones that have so much replayability and so much such a great gameplay, and they are intense and keep you on your toes most of the time when you play them. So we're gonna play with a gates story, and I'm gonna choose a different operative this time. So I have 4 different operatives to choose from, and I think that I'm gonna go for White Fang. So White Fang is a master of the battlefield, wielding both arcane and iron with ease. Veteran, so I assume she is a veteran, starts in command with 2 mercenary banners. She's well informed, she's starting with +2 rumors, and she has a legacy, which means that each and every turn she's gonna get +1 gold in payouts from contracts. Cool. And the last thing that I'm gonna choose is our opponents, our adversaries. It's gonna be a cult, so the cult leader and their cultists will oppose you. If the cult's power grows too strong or they destroy your hidden sanctum, you lose. So I'm gonna play against the Storm Cult. I haven't managed to pull a single victory against them because they're really hard to beat. So I found them hard, and they cast Water Shield, and the cult sites can cause locations to become flooded, and we get -1 gold per turn from disrupted shipping. It actually evens out White Fang's ability, but everything is really, really relevant. So we definitely need to take care of most of the things that we find, that we encounter in the game, and I'm going to explain everything as we go along. It might be intimidating at first, but the game is rather easy, and it can be played as soon as you get accustomed to the game and the UI and everything. The game can just be played like a breeze. Before we start, we can choose whether to play as an initiate, which means that things are gonna be relatively easier, or we can play in the normal standard difficulty, or in the in the hellish one. So let me tell you what, the game, it's hard at its core, so it's not easy to defeat. You might need to actually sacrifice some things in order to be able to succeed in your scenario. But this is the actual notion of the game, that you have to make sacrifices, and you have to fight against odds, all odds, to actually do something. So let's start the game, and let me guide you through each and everything. So at the beginning, we're just given, do you remember when we chose that specific character that we chose, that specific Heretic Operative? She listed that we start the game with 2 flags. That means that we have 2 different mercenary groups that are gonna help us. So that's why we're drawing 2 of these cards, and these cards are the banner of the condemned ones. They walk unflinchingly towards death, and in order to use them we need to pay 2 gold from our resources here, and they give us 8 combat dice in battle, which are iron combat dice. I'm gonna get to it when we go to combat, and we can use these just twice, and then they get discarded. I assume that these are kinda undead, or people that actually are looking forward to their deaths, like, you know, they're death seekers or something. So let's close this and let's draw a different card. So the other one is the banner of the uncertain fate. The consequences of their involvement can be difficult to predict. So we pay 1 gold, again from here, then we pay 1 fate. The fate is from here. I'm gonna come to fate later on, and they give us +6 combat dice, and that's iron, but they have unlimited uses. They don't get discarded after using them twice, so that's why their cost is much more than the other one. And now we get to the very first chapter. So chapter 1, gathering information, and it says go to Kopek's Tavern. So this will be revealed in the following card. So it says, a sleepless night. At first light, you notice your vision bending at the edges. A breeze felt on your skin, yet the grass and leaves are still. You're not surprised when the messenger whispers in your ear, something is amiss. There is trouble. Lyrica waits at the tavern. We need to meet Lyrica at Kopek's Tavern. So the game is all about the story, and I'm gonna stick to the story and try to convey our entire experience as a story while we are playing. So keep up with that, because if you are not into the story, then the game might not even be interesting for you. So let's close, and now we draw 1 card from our adversary deck. So the adversaries are these, and they have specific cards for that specific story. So let's come right into it. Draw a card. A gate opens at the farmstead. Rumors reach you of an unnatural gate appearing near Woodbridge Farmstead. A calf is born with 3 heads, and bread fails to rise in every hearth and bakery. We spawn, so a spawn happens, a mysterious gate spawns at Woodbridge Farmstead. Let me tell you what, the cards from this deck are premeditated, so we know what the story actually is. If you've played it once, then you know what cards are gonna come. But the cards from this deck, the adversary ones, even if relevant to the story you're playing, they are entirely random. So the Farmstead gate opening is a random thing occurring in this set. Because basically when I played that, the gate never opened at the farmstead, so it's a random thing. So let's close. And now we start the game. First of all, let me zoom out and show you that this is the game board. See the game board? It's quite big, isn't it? I can zoom out more, but what you can see, there are many named locations. These named locations are connected with these feigned lines to different places. Some of the locations don't have names, which means that they're just points that you need to pass through, as in spend extra move to actually pass through that point and then go wherever you wish to go. During your turn, you have 2 action points, and these action points need to be when these action points are used, they are used to perform actions with your operatives. It doesn't matter how many operatives you have. If you have 2 actions, you can only perform 2 actions with any operatives in your roster. Even if you have 8 operatives, you'll just have 2 actions, not 2 each, but 2 entirely as a whole, right? Okay, so we start the game in the hideout. Needless to say that in the game's story, we are a cult, and cults consist of mages, of people who actually cast spells, and these people are sought after the church and are put to death if anyone discovers that they are magic wielders. So we never want to actually have our cover blown, and that's it. At the beginning, if you wish, you can actually click on the white fang, and here the game gives you additional information about who you are and where you find yourself. So let's just read this just to have everything, put everything into perspective. So White Fang led her band of mercenaries to many victories during the rebellion. If you wish, you can click, nothing. During the rebellion, aided by her attunement to magic, she became adept at misdirection, making her magic appear instead as pure martial prowess. But once the Inquisition, the church that I said before, began to investigate, she had to leave that life behind. Now she works with the heretics, ourselves, our organization, our cult, bringing her military skills and mercenary contacts to the battlefield. White Fang starts with 2 mercenary banners at her command, as well as a steady income from contracts still being paid out. So that's it in a nutshell. And now I'm going to explain to you all these 6 traits. So basically we've got health. If health falls to 0, then we die. Easy peasy. The arcane skill. The arcane skill actually modifies the intensity of the spells that we cast, and it's quite relevant. It doesn't do anything on its own, but it's quite relevant when we need to use it somewhere. The same thing happens with a social skill. It doesn't do anything on its own, but it does when keyed with other effects. The physical is actually helps us in combat, and for every 2 points of physical skill, we add +1 to each die when using iron. We're gonna come to this when we fight, but iron means that we are using with our swords, daggers, weapons, even with our iron gauntlets. Everything that means close combat or fighting that doesn't involve spells is in that. However, from the story of White Fang, we realize that she is using magic. She's channeling magic through her martial prowess, and that's a really nice thing, because basically she can fight without using magic openly. And last but not least, we have corruption and tranquility. Every time that we cast spells, we get corruption. If ever we reach a corruption of 100, then at the start or the end, I don't remember, at the start of each turn, there is a percentage roll that needs to be made. If we don't succeed to that, then we succumb to the corruption and our character becomes a villain, not joining the cult, but they become a neutral character fighting anyone they encounter on the specific location. However, the corruption can fall if we have a tranquility trait. At the end of each turn, corruption is reduced by that amount as our tranquility score. If we have a negative, it will increase corruption instead. Cool. And okay, one last thing to remember. Each location here has different traits. So this one is, we start from the hideout, and it is a hidden base. The defeat condition is if too many cultists are searching this location, the heretic inner sanctum is discovered and destroyed. If 3 cultists are at the hideout, then it is destroyed. So we shouldn't allow cultists from the Storm Cult to ever visit the hideout. And the defeat condition is that if all operatives are dead, the heretics are destroyed. Throughout the game, we will be able to actually find more heretics in the game. And here you see all the actions that we can do. Most of the actions definitely need to use influence. So that's why you see the scroll here. We need to actually use influence in order to do something. An open scroll means that we're already using that. We've already recruited that person. And here you see that we've already recruited a spy master, which means that it is a heretic influence. It has a heretic influence of 0. We don't need to spend any more influence to use that. And per turn, we're getting +2 influence. That's it. Okay, and we find ourselves in the hideout. The northern reach has been occupied by humans for hundreds of years, but there are signs of people in the area from long before. The ruins here are not of human design or construction, nor do they have any resemblance to anything made by the elves, dwarves, or any other known peoples. In truth, nobody knows who built here or what this once was. The workers of Ione, who construct their shelter in and around what remains, commonly refer to it as their castle. Cool, so let's step right into it. I've babbled for too long, so now we have 2 action points. If we wish to not to spend any action point, these action points will be reverted to fate, and fate can be used to reroll a skill dice in a skill challenge. And sometimes you need to spend fate for extra things as well. So we definitely need to go to Kopek's Tavern, which is here. And we start here. So first of all, we're gonna move to Woodbridge Farmstead. The fields of the Midlands are dotted with farms like the Woodbridge Farmstead, quiet, rural, and peaceful. These farmers know the old ways, but are also superstitious folks, not prone to trusting strangers or magic. But we know that there is a mysterious gate here, but we don't have the means to actually fight the gate now, because basically if we try to perform the ritual of the red gates, there is a requirement that we need to have learned the gate sealing ritual, and right now we don't have it, so we can't do anything here. Besides, we definitely need to meet, I don't remember what's her name, Lyrica at the Kopek's Tavern, so let's go there. Busy day and night, Kopek's Tavern is a good place for information. Alright. So basically we have used our action points and I can safely click on the end of turn, but before I do this, let's just check the story of Kopek's Tavern. Kopek's was a quiet place before fighting in the Middle Kingdoms caused the capital to be relocated to Ione. As those loyal to Emperor Vocula moved north, Kopek's saw a steady stream of new faces. Today, many additions after the original ramshackle tavern, the place is famous for never closing. Local custom holds that anyone asking to speak with Kopek has to buy everyone drinks. Kopek was the first owner's horse and is said to have selected the location for the tavern by collapsing and dying on the trip to Ione. Okay, so that's the game's story. And before I click the end of turn, I wish to show you the inventory. So this is the inventory consisting of the banners that we have acquired. But at the start of each and every game, you've got an unknown spellbook. You draw from the spellbook deck and add to White Fang's possessions. Okay? And we only have 1 use remaining and it can be sold. The thing is that if I click on it right now, it will attach to White Fang. So if I ever have a different agent, I won't be able to actually cast that spell with the other one. So I think I don't need to spend an action to do that, but I think I'm gonna refrain from doing this now in case I need this later. And here you see White Fang's spells. So White Fang can cast 2 spells in combat: Arcane Missile and Battle Frenzy. We're gonna come to it whenever we go in combat. So that's it. Let's end our turn and proceed to the next phase. After we are moving, after we've done our actions, then we've got the next phase, which is the resolve adventure. So jump to the next location and resolve the next adventure. So you see that there is an exclamation mark here. For each agent on a specific location, on a named location, we draw one card from that location. So let's draw one. One belonging to Kopek's Tavern. Stacked deck. So after I read this, if I don't like the effect of this card, if I don't think that I'm actually going to use it, I can spend a rumor point that I find here to actually reshuffle that card back into the deck and draw one again. There might be a chance that I draw the same one. It has happened to me once, but don't fret, it's just luck. So you join a stacked deck. You join a group that has been playing Hands of Shepherd all evening. Don't ask me what it is. These are regulars and you may learn something by sitting with them. In the middle of a hand, you notice a player pulling a card from his sleeve. So someone's cheating, right? If I keep my cover, I'm gonna lose gold because he's cheating. If I expose the cheater, it's gonna be my social skill of 1 against the value of 3, which is actually too high for me. And if I do so and win, I'm gonna get +1 gold, otherwise I'll get punched to the nose and I'm gonna lose health. If I use magic to win, I'm gonna get 3 gold and 5 corruption. I know that it might sound peculiar, but since I'm getting gold with White Fang, I'll just keep my cover and accept the loss of gold. I don't want to get corruption because corruption is a really bad thing to have, really. Okay, so keep my cover and just lose 1 gold. Why did I lose 2 though? I just don't know. Okay, so click to reveal the card. The next chapter is on because we've actually arrived there. A ritual of sealing. Even in the crowded tavern, you find Lyrica without effort. Another like you, one who has known magic, easy for you to notice. As soon as the barman moves out of earshot, she speaks without looking. They toil at a ritual, the Red Gates. It is one I do not know. You will need to learn it. I was close, but she looks at her hands, restless on the bar top. I no longer trust myself. What magic has opened, magic can close. We need to gather 2 lore to learn the Red Gates ritual. Right now our lore is 0. She said that she's afraid that she has delved far too much. So if we click on Lyrica, we see that she has 40 corruption. She's quite high, her health is lower than expected, her social skills are better than ours, and she has an okay arcane skill, but she has a -1 tranquility, which means that she cannot resist corruption easily, and she's gonna be gaining 1 corruption each and every turn if this remains just like that. However, if we ever manage to achieve a positive tranquility score, this will get reduced. What about Lyrica? Want to learn more about her? Lyrica was the first Heretic Operative recruited after the founding of the organization. She has proven herself an inviolable agent and has defeated cult mages on numerous occasions. Always a concern, she has recently shown signs of perhaps allowing some of the power of the arcane to corrupt her. Lyrica has not only a solid arcane skill, but also provides a large supply of rumors when recruited. Be careful to mind her corruption, however. That's so true. So if we check on the map a bit longer, we see that in the Harbor District there is a storm cultist. So basically we're fighting against the storm cult. The cultist activity fills the meter, which increases cult power when full, and right now the cult activity is +1 from the cult leader. So you see that there is a storm cultist here. Cultist in the thrall of Procelas the Storm Mage. The combat rank is 30, damage resistant to fire and nature, and they inflict 1 damage if we lose against them. Let's see. So you see there are many different enemies, but they are not cultists. They don't belong to the enemy cult. But right now, from what we see here, there's only 1 cultist here. And I think that this is why this number gets increased by 1. So generally speaking, now we need lore. Okay, so for the quest, to do the quest, right? So we definitely need to obtain lore, and there is a hint that says that there are several ways to obtain lore, including townsfolk in the museum district. Even if we hover against lore, they say that Gain lore by researching ancient tombs and forbidden knowledge at places like the Museum District. So we need to go to the Museum District, right? Which is here. So if we check here, it says that the game will give us lore. You see the symbol of lore. So if we spend 4 influence, we can recruit a researcher. When recruited, enables spending an action point for the following effect. We can pay 5 gold and increase lore by 1. Otherwise, we can recruit a librarian with an influence cost of 2. And when recruited, we can spend an action point to, and if we have arcane skill of 3+, then we can get more corruption and get lore. But right now, I think that White Fang will be the best one to actually go there and wait for her money. Yeah, but we just have 1 gold now. Can we increase our gold capacity somehow? Gain gold through hard work and adventure opportunities, or recruit townsfolk to provide a more reliable gold income. So do you see that one here, Octavia the Merchant? So as you see here, there are no gold options, so we can't get gold just like that. But Octavia is the merchant, can be recruited with an influence cost of 5 and becomes a controllable operative with a social skill. Whenever we recruit her, she gives us 2 rumors and 6 gold. So I want to recruit Octavia the Merchant, for sure. Traveling the dusty roads with a caravan is no longer enough for the merchant. They are anxious to join the fight against the cult directly and are willing to devote their considerable resources to the cause. Sure. Welcome aboard, Octavia. So we got 3 people now, and we haven't spent any action points yet, because basically recruiting these people is actually just, it's just a passive thing. We don't do it by spending an action or anything. So we have 7 now, but we have 0 influence. And here, in order to do this, we'll definitely need at least 2 influence. So I think the best way to actually gain influence is get more cell leaders. So here, we already got 1. So we get 2 influence per turn, right? Yeah, so passive townsfolk give you an automatic bonus. Active townsfolk let you spend an action point for some effect. Townsfolk that are recruitable as operatives can be found here as well. Cool. So basically, we just need to... So we'll be getting 2 influence. But you know what? I think I'm actually gonna get here. And since we need... Here we need an arcane skill. Here we just need to pay 5 gold if we recruit the researcher. Cool. So I'm actually gonna send Lyrica here to the Museum District. Before moving, you see that it says the difficulty is 3 and the skill is arcane, and I can see that from here, from the yellow color and from the small arcane icon. So I know that if I move here there, then the difficulty from the events that I'm gonna get is gonna be 3. So basically I'm just an equal. So let's go there. I'm gonna send her there. The Museum District, the oldest district in Ione. Many of the buildings here boast an imperial collection. This is the domain of the Empire's scholars, men and women working to understand the treasures the crown has acquired over the years. If the church knew what half the things being examined in the basements here actually were. Ione began as an outpost of the Imperial College. The first buildings of the city will still stand, preserved in the center of the Museum District. With the rebellion, the Museum District experienced rapid expansion. As the Empire lost some of the Middle Kingdoms, loyal nobles and their treasures flowed into Ione. Today, the district is filled with relics of every description, and the scholars studying these items. Okay, so we've got one last action. We don't need to stay to Kopek's Tavern. I think that we can go to Harbor District to actually get to the Storm Cultists, and what more, we might need to go to the Mysterious Gate later on to actually seal these gates, right? However, in order to do all these things, I'm just gonna do one thing at a time. So first thing, I'm gonna send White Fang here to the Museum District and get to the Harbor District later on. I can battle the Storm Cultists with everything, but they're resistant to fire in nature, so I don't want to actually send someone against them that actually uses fire or nature. So we is it fire? Is it fire? Sorry. Yes, fire. So here we've got arcane and earth, arcane and iron, no nature. So no need to worry about. I'm gonna send white funk here. And I don't have other action points, so let's click enter. And let's draw 2 adventure cards from the 2 locations that our agents are in. We don't draw a location card per agent, but 1 per location housing an agent of ours. So now we've only drawn a card from this district. I can't remember which one was it. So it was library, museum. Since we have 2 agents here, we can choose any of those 2 to resolve it. However, it says the streets are empty and the museums are closed. It appears to be some kind of holiday. Another one? No effect. And let's draw the next card. This one addresses Octavia. A drunk is telling his stable stories, so we need to pay attention, and we'll be getting 1 rumor from that. Perfect. You see that a red token has been placed here. This is because there is 1 storm cultist here. Okay, and from what we see here, there are no other cultists around, so this one is the one generating the problems. However, you saw that the number here is +2 because we are getting 1 because of the cult leader. So the cult leader always increases 1, and the cult leader simply exists in the game. And we have one cultist here, so basically this number gets increased to 2. At the end of each turn, for each we get to place that many red tokens on the track as the number shown here. So basically right now we have 2, and later on we're gonna place 2 of these tokens. When passing an exclamation mark, the next event card from here is from the cult deck, from our opponent's deck, is drawn and played. Event cards are linked to the current story and generally reflect advancing cult progress in their overall plans. One last thing that you might have noticed is this die here, the Storm Cult site. Storm cultists are active in this area, that's why, because there is a Storm cultist here, right? Spreading their influence every turn. If cult influence reaches 5, this location becomes flooded because we fight against the Storm cult. They actually summon storms ahead, and this location becomes flooded and another cultist arrives. The flooded thing means that you can't actually leave that district, I think, I'm not sure. So we don't want the cult influence to ever get to 5+. So in order to do that, we actually need to go to the Harbor District and fight it. Okay, so we've got 2 influence, and here in the Museum District we can recruit a librarian. A librarian is a nice thing, but they offer a lot of corruption, and right now we have too much money but we don't have the means. If we wait for 1 more turn, then things will be better, I guess, because basically I don't want Lyrica to actually get toppled over into corruption, because right now her tranquility has decreased by 1 more. Okay. I don't want to do that, so she has become curious, which means that you're becoming aware of what magic can do and are curious to learn more. That's why she gained an extra arcane skill, but she lost 1 tranquility. Okay, so I'm gonna move White Funk over here. I'll keep in mind that I'll need 5 gold at least, so I can spend up to 2 gold now. So let's move here there. We go to the Harbor District. Grimy and thick with salt, this is where goods from across the seas flow in and out of Ione. A lot of business is done here, some of which is even legitimate. So the growth of Ione attracted trade with a multitude of lands across the oceans, prompting construction of the docks. After the rebellion, Ionis docks underwent a second expansion. With the loss of the Middle Kingdoms, overland travel across the empire became hazardous, and sea-going vessels became the one reliable connection between the empire's northern and southern regions. Understanding the importance of trade, Empress Vocula is somewhat lenient with enforcement of the edict here, as many of the foreign sailors hail from the unenlightened lands where magic is permitted. And here you see there are two different effects. Stormy seas, churning seas and constant storms have brought all naval commerce to a halt, creating shortages. Click to interact. -1 gold per turn applies. Yeah, that's because I think of this, right? Yes, because of the stormy seas. Because the storm cloud actually causes this. That's why we lose 1 gold each and every turn. Okay. So while I'm here, I can't do anything relating to this because I don't have the influence needed, so I won't get into further detail. However, I can actually get the librarian, as I said before, or I can get someone else, but I don't wish to spend influence right now. So I'm gonna stay put here. I can't directly attack the cultists, but after the adventure step, after we draw from the decks, then we can encounter the enemy present. So I'm gonna stop here and end my turn and get a fate, which is quite crucial. So let's go, first of all, let's go to the Museum District, where Lyrica the Renegade gets to encounter this. Curios and eccentricities. Word reaches you of an interesting location, only the best and exotic and forbidden items. This is a useful place to know about. Spawn curios and eccentricities. Curios and eccentricities is now open in Museum District. This one. Click to interact. Purchase an item from a shop. I can pay 6 gold to draw 2 from the rare item deck, keep 1 and add to collection, but I need to spend an action point, and that cannot be done now because we are on the adventure step, but I don't want to spend money now. So let's go to the Harbor District with Whitefang. Templar Raid. Suspect cargo is stored in a warehouse until the church can make sure nothing heretical is being allowed through. Templars are inside, going through crates. Convince the Templars you are from the church. So I don't have a high social skill. I don't have the necessary influence to do anything, and I can just move along, do nothing. Yes, I think that I shouldn't do anything, just move along. And now, that's when I actually get to combat the Storm Cultist. So this is a quite interesting phase, the combat, because basically we have 3 rounds, and during these 3 rounds we need to roll dice and roll at least this number listed on our enemy's combat rank. In order to do so, we need to roll dice of various different qualities and quantities, but we can just do these attacks. Most of these attacks are once per combat. And what's more, our enemies have damage resistance, which means that whenever we roll fire or nature dice and we roll 5+, then these numbers go away. So they never add up to this. So I should avoid rolling fire or nature unless I roll low scores, which is not helpful, you see. Okay, so we got 5 different choices. We've got a basic attack. This is a repeatable thing. We can do it as many times as we like. We just roll 1 combat dice of iron quality, and iron means that we get to add +1 to the value for every 2 points of physical skill. Right now we get +2 to our roll. So we roll 1 die and then we get +2 to that particular roll. Or we can roll an arcane missile, which means that it's not repeatable. So it adds 5 corruption to us. We need to have 3 arcane to use it, so that's why it's not grayed out. We roll 1 combat dice, but the arcane dice, for every arcane skill above 1, we roll 1 more. So it's like a magic missiles in D&D. We'll be rolling 1 per arcane skill. So we'll be rolling 3. But it doesn't get an extra bonus. Here we've got the mercenaries that we have. Here we can pay 2 gold and roll 8 combat dice, all iron. Here we can pay 1 gold and 1 fate and roll 6 combat dice iron. But it's not repeatable, but it's not of a specific uses. It's not 2 uses. And we can go to a battle frenzy, which means overpowering strikes that are quite effective, plus 5 combat dice, iron, but we become exhausted, which means that we would be unable to spend action points on this character on the next round. Which is not a problem, because basically we won't be using White Fang during the next round. We'll be using Lyrica, right? So I think that we should go for the battle frenzy first and foremost. Let's roll 5 dice, and we're gonna add +2 to our rolls. We got a 32 just with the battle frenzy. So White Fang entered a battle frenzy mode, and she just wreaked havoc to the Storm Cultist. Victory! We won. So we got a cloak, a cultist's cloak. These cloaks are used by the cult to covertly identify one another. Turn in at the Cathedral District for a reward can be sold. I can turn it here at the Cathedral District, which is good. Let me tell you that items are going to a pool, to the item pool. So any agent can actually use them unless they are spells or abilities, in which case they are tied to the specific agent shown here. Okay, so the next one is we're still in the adventure phase. Let's go to Kopek's Tavern and Octavia. Outnumbered, you can see that it will not be a fair fight. One argues with a mercenary while another approaches from behind with a blackjack in hand. Against us, right? It's a physical test, we're not good at it. We can pay 1 influence to draw from the mercenary and add to collection, or join the fight on the merc's side. So basically we're fighting against someone. Or I can just spend 1 rumor to draw a replacement. Let's do this. Some rye? The man thrusts an earthenware jug in your direction. Want some rye? Before you have a chance to answer, he's pouring. Cars yet do. Should we drink it or pretend to drink it? Let's pretend. Anyway, it will give us 2 influence. He's trying to drag us by offering us poison drinks, so with sleeping draught. So let's go with the social. So you see it says 83%, which means that let's roll. When rolling, we get a different screen. Generally speaking, when we roll, we need to roll against a specific difficulty. If the difficulty is 0, then the excess points here get reduced from the original score. The original score that we need to get is 11. It's always 11, but relative to the difficulty and us having a value over it, we'll get to deduct from the score of 11 that many points as the difference between our skill and the difficulty. So the difficulty is 0, we have 3, so we deduct 3 points from 11, which means that we get a target of 8. Easy, right? Roll. We got 8 just by an inch of our hairs, of our back hair. So the man raises his glass. We succeeded. Here's to us. You pretend to drink and manage to pour your glass in a plant beside you without being noticed. After repeating this a few times, your host falls out of his chair and you move on. We got 2 influence, which will actually speed things up. We really needed that. See, Lyrica got 2 more corruption, so she's gonna be in for a huge surprise if things carry on going like that. Okay, so for our what more? We just got 1, right? Because basically the cult leader places 1 red token, but since we've managed to kill the cultist, then they won't be placing an extra 1, which is good. So we need to hunt down our opponents if we ever have the chance. So we are at the Museum District. Lyrica, find a researcher. Spend an action point. The researcher has enough training in the arcane to find what is truly valuable in the vast libraries and collections of the capital. Providing them with gold to buy access and hire assistants can provide the insight and lore needed to combat the cult. Again, we need lore because the quest asks us. So we got the researcher. Now we can spend an action point to actually get one lore. So let's do this. Perfect. The researcher is still with us, but we need to gain more gold to actually give him, right? If I choose, I can also try to recruit a librarian, which means that I will get one extra lore, but in the end, I might end up with corruption. I don't want to do this just now. I think I've got everything under control. Should I do this? I need 6 golds to the shop, so I think I'm gonna leave Lyrica here because it's nice to have an agent present there, and I'm gonna go to the cathedral to hand over the cloak that I got. There is still a storm cult site. Can I actually do anything with that? I attempt to destroy the... Yeah, I can do this. This will activate every turn, applies every turn, +1 cult influence. Becomes flooded and small the cult. Yes, so should I attempt to destroy the cultist site? I think so. I can pay 1. It's arcane, 3 versus 0. Good. On success, we get 5 corruption. I get 5 corruption. And the storm cult site is eliminated. I can pay 1 rumor. Yeah, it requires an action point. I do have an action point. Yeah, but no, I don't, because I'm exhausted. Because I fought with tooth and claw against them. Do you remember that, right? Okay, so... should I send Lyrica for that? Should I send Lyrica to actually hand in the cloak? Why not, right? The difficulty is 6 social. If we get an event that's social, she's in for a huge surprise, I think. No, I think I'm gonna pass and do nothing, because I'm okay with that. I'm gonna get more fate, which is good. It's our positive karma. So, Museum District, Lyrica. Ioni's museums attract rich nobles and distracted tourists, the lifeblood of thieves and muggers. You would expect them to select easier prey, but these miscreants have turned their attention towards you. Spawn a thug and fight a thug? No, change this. Cut purse. The laughing Urkins run past on you on the street. You smile. The children in Ione have no understanding of the struggle around them. They're still so pure. But your coin purse is a little lighter. Oh god. Harbor. The man has some items he found on the docks if you're interested. I can't buy an item, I have 0 gold, so move along. And Kopek's Tavern. Cheers erupts from a table nearby as a smiling woman sweeps your pile of winnings away. The dice are being passed. I can't gamble because I have no gold. Move along. Now, the storm cult brings in a new event. A gate opens at the tavern. Rumors reach you of an unnatural gate appearing near Kopek's Tavern. Beer turns sour and a dark mood falls across the patrons. Let's spawn a mysterious gate at Kopek's Tavern. Here it is. So it's okay, I guess. We are here, we are around here. It's going okay. We don't have the money though to pay for the researcher, and we're gonna wait for a long time to actually do this. But the cult influence grows. We definitely need to stop them, so let's attempt to destroy the cultist site. I can pay 1 rumor. No, I prefer to invoke a spell to reveal their arcane traces. Yes, we'll be getting corruption, but it's okay. Let's roll. We've got 3. We got 6, but we needed 8. So now you see, this is the reroll symbol. We can gain 1 corruption and spend 1 fate to reroll a challenge die. We got 7. Once more. We got 1! I can't believe it! Okay, failure. Just accept it. We lost one action by trying to destroy this. Let's try a second time, because we have 2 actions. So now we will succeed. Again with the same thing. Finally, success. These rites will expand your senses to find traces of the cult's activities in the harbor, and their overwhelming corruption draws you like a beacon. Yep, the storm cult site is eliminated. Cool. So they won't trouble us further, but we don't have any actions. Enter. More cards. Amulet. The small shop in the heart of the museum district has a ruby amulet in the display case. You can sense memories in it stored away long ago. Attempt to examine the amulet. Yes, this will give us lore. Yes! If we steal it, we're gonna get 1 lore and corruption. No, let's do it lawfully. Roll. Hopefully we will succeed in that. The target is 10. Bullshit! The glittering facets hint of secrets waiting to be unlocked, but you cannot pull the memories from the gem. No effect. Damn. Let's see Kopek's Tavern. Someone grabs roughly at your shoulder. You turn to face a shorter man, one hand hidden inside his cloak. You can see from his eyes that he's not just another drunk enjoying the tavern. Did you come from the camp? Stormcult Assassin. We're just a worker. Yeah, man, it's a 50-50 chance, and if we lose, we're gonna lose 1 health and just be exhausted, which isn't a bad thing, so let's go for that. Let's roll. Target is 11. Yes! 12. The man asks some questions about your story, but you are able to convince him that what you claim is true. You escape a deadly situation. That's true. See, the game creates a story in some sort of way, and I'm really attracted to that thing. Well, I really love board games, and myself, I am a professional board game designer. I've been doing this for 9 years, but I've always been attracted to board games, even to video games that profess to be, board games such as this. And I really like the old school fact that it has. So the story is okay. I mean, it draws me in. I'm immersed. The music is okay. Again, it assists to the immersion. It's not a breathtaking thing, but it actually does the game justice. And the visuals, oh my god, the visuals are so good for my tastes. I don't want the AAA visuals or anything, or AAA graphics. I just want to play a game that keeps that sort of immersion in it, and the game does that in spades. The cloaked figure moves with a grace you recognize. This is a professional. I make problems go away, she says. Do you have problems? Move along. Okay. We need 1 more lore, right? We do have a problem still. Okay, if I can recruit a smuggler, this will give us +2 gold per turn, or a cell leader who will give us influence. I think it will be okay if we do this, right? I don't want to go to the librarian still. What about the Kopek's Tavern? Rumors influence corruption, no lore. Getting mercenaries, getting rumors. Here we can recruit a cell leader and they will give us +1 influence. But here, yeah, the same thing for 5, right? I want to do this here. So let's recruit a cell leader, shall we? Yes. This is a passive thing, so they will give us +1 influence during each and every time, and the influence is the main thing for actually spreading our influence in the game, right? In actually recruiting people here and there. And we already have a spy master here, granting us 2 influence. Cool. Too much blubbering, but let's carry on playing. So let's recruit a cell leader. The cell leader is the local head of operations in this area. They can help spread heretic influence and coordinate activities. Creating and protecting a strong network of cells is vital to the long-term strategy of the heretics. Cool. It's I need to say that whenever we click this, we don't spend an action point. We can spend an action point after we recruited one and they have an activating ability. That's when we actually need to spend it. Okay, I think... Is there a cult influence still? Yeah, but there's no... Yeah, there's no cult cell or anything. Cool. Okay, I think I'm gonna move to the Cathedral District. This district is home to the Hierarchist Church. The cathedrals and surrounding streets are filled with Hierarchist priests and Templar initiates. This is not a safe place for anyone with arcane ability. Cool. So I will hand over the cultist cloak. Use. Whoa! We got gold, we got influence. Cool. That's so nice to do, right? Isn't it? Okay, you know what? I've been waiting for too long, but I'm gonna do this with White Fang. Let's draw the spellbook. The spellbook is the peacock in the window. This is how it's called. The mere presence of this book fills you with an unsettling yearning. What little of it you can decipher is confusing allegories with an unclear implication. While it would be quite taxing by utilizing some learned lore and arcane skill, practical applications of night magic could be learned. I need to pay on lore to do this, and I don't want to do that right now because I'm stacking on lore, and we need to encounter to have an arcane skill, to take a test of arcane with difficulty of 6, and if successful, then we can draw 2 spells from the spell deck of night, and we keep one, and it has 3 uses. It's quite good, but we won't be needing that just now. So okay, I've moved here. I really don't want to actually stay here, right? This will add us 2 influence at an influence cost of 8 with a patron. A bishop gives us lore. I mean, okay, I will try to stay here. It's gonna be quite hard because there are too many social challenges against White Fang, and I think that she's not prepared for that, but let's keep it that way. Let's risk it a bit. Besides, we have too many rumors to actually spend. So, first of all, let's go for the Museum District. A place to stay. The sun sinks toward the horizon. It will be night soon, and finding a place to stay in the Ione can be difficult. Call in a favor to stay at a noble's estate. I really want to stay there. I don't want to go to Kopek's Tavern because I'll be losing action points to actually go there. So call in a favor and lose 1 influence. Besides, we'll be gaining 3 now. Kopek's Tavern. A cultist revealed. Cultivating your contacts here at the tavern has paid off. The grain merchant at the bar thinks their identity is still hidden. Oh, that's a storm cultist. I haven't recruited the barkeep, so as you know, he would have poisoned their drink and searched their rooms. No, let's go for a rumor. Spend a rumor. Strange waves of negative energy radiate from the mysterious gate. The waves wash over you. Fudge! I definitely need to succeed in this. Otherwise, apply status effect elsewhere. A sliver of your mind is in another realm. -2 skill arcane expires in 5 turns. Cool. Roll. Well, it's not that bad. Yeah, I got a 14! Wow! You struggle to resist as the energy waves wash over you. Yet, by drawing deep upon your endurance, you withstand the draining energies. Needless to say that all these decks get affected by the things happening in the game. So this one popped up because of the gate that existed. The existing gate, right? And the last event is here at the Cathedral District. Unease. This is never a comfortable place for a heretic, but somehow things are uneventful for a time. Good. Good, because I'm really dreading this place. Okay, let's see what the Storm Cult has to say. Rivers are beginning to flood, and yet the rain shows no sign of stopping. There are dark mutterings about this unnatural weather among the populace, and people are turning to the Storm Cult. People are actually worshipping them now. Spawn a Storm Cultist at Woodbridge Farmstead. That's because we reached that point. Okay, now we do have a problem. We definitely need to address this situation. I think I'm gonna... We don't have the money, the necessary money. I don't have the influence here to do anything. I wonder, can we actually find that person with Octavia? So basically Octavia has a bodyguard. We can pay 1 gold and we'll be rolling 4 dice for that. But I think it's not quite big. I don't want to lose my time here for that. What we need now is lore, right? And the priest, a bishop here can grant us lore, but we'll be needing more influence for that. I really don't want to drive Lyrica insane. Can Lyrica... She can cast arcane missiles, but nothing much. I'm just looking at the things that I have. Okay. So I don't want them to be creating any sort of, you know, cult here. So I do need to go to Woodbridge Farmstead. I think I'm gonna leave Lyrica there. I'm gonna move 1, 2. Okay, I'm gonna move White Fang, but I need to have the bishop there. I can use these mercenaries against them with Octavia, but I'll be spending all of my money, right? The bishop can be recruited with influence though. Okay, let's do this. Let's spend our money for now. So I'm gonna move Octavia there. What can I do here, by the way? Ah, +1 gold. Yeah, but I need these for... +2 influence. Their mayor can be recruited. Influence cost of 4. The heretic influence of 10+. You must earn the loyalty of other townsfolk here before the mayor can be recruited. Cool. Prevent cultists from establishing cult sites. Okay. When recruited, enables spending an action point for the following effect. A farmer. This will be useful later on for Lyrica possibly. The herbalist is gonna give health points. Let me just check something. Heretic influence is used to recruit. And this will move me to the Cathedral District. Yeah, I don't need to. I think I'll actually stay there and do nothing for now. Well, if this is done, I'm thinking, should Lyrica move here? Because later on I can, well, library. Okay, let's stay as we are. Cathedral. You look familiar. The priest looks over you. Can he sense that you are touched by magic? Call upon your good standing to deflect his concerns. Let's do this for... Oh god. I'll be losing the... No, rumors. I'm gonna run out of rumors anytime soon. The aspirant is young, but he knows a great deal about the hierarchy's church. You could get a lot of information if you show an interest in his work. I have 0 social. Not good. Okay. Let's go for a no effect thing, right? Yeah, I don't want to get to be exhausted. It's a pity, yeah. I discussed, but to no avail, right? Okay, let's check here. The locals toss coins into the large fountain at the center of the museum district for good luck. Beside it, you can feel the faint traces of magic in the air. There is more to this than simple superstition. Toss in some coins. No effect, rumors, tranquility, health. Tranquility? Yes, let's do this. What did I get? Nothing? I don't know. I might have gotten something, I just don't know, really. Okay. Hunt the snipe. Some of the locals invite you to hunt with them. You stand with the bag they gave you, waiting for the snipe. It appears. Catch it! Okay. The snipe leads you on a merry chase. We need 10. We got 9. Let's get it. Cool. The snipe leads you on a merry chase, but your persistent pursuit pays off. Spirits are high as the locals celebrate your achievement. +1 influence. Woohoo! I caught it. But now I need to fight the storm cultist. Okay, so we need them. We don't have much gold, so I think I can afford paying the banner of the uncertain fate. So I'm gonna be rolling iron dice, and I need to spend 1 gold, 1 fate. Let's do this. Man, I got too many ones. But you saw that this has been grayed out, I would have said, readied out. I can't use it anymore. So I'll definitely need to actually use something else. So my bodyguards, perhaps? I'll be rolling 4 dice. I've rolled 17 in so far. My bodyguards did it, right? My bodyguards are better, really. Cool, I've got 34. Therefore, I don't need to go to a 3rd round. So, victory. I got a cloak. Cool. But the cult increases its presence by 1. A gate opens at the Elven Archive. Rumors reach you of an unnatural gate appearing in the forest near the Elven Archive. Elder trees wither and die, and the initiates bring dire warnings. So, a portal opens there. And now I'm ready to face the next turn. So before I do this, sadly I've played for on too long. I don't want to tire you, so I will be splitting that into 2 episodes. I think it was quite informative the way that I played. I bubbled on for too long, but I really wanted to show you how the game plays out. I'm really gonna carry on the next episode and finalize our match, the match that we've started here as White Fang and the cult against the Storm Cult. Cool. So that's it, people, in a nutshell. Thank you very much for following me. If you really liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And if you also wish, just click on the bell button down below. In that way, you'll get notified when a brand new video goes online. Thank you very much for your time. Stay safe, and I hope to see you next time. See you. Bye-bye.